Cheers, welcome to my channel. This is a daily tarot oracle reading, Tattletales from Tales from the Vector. This is a general or collective reading, so parts of it may or may not resonate with you. Take what works for you and leave the rest. This is also a timely reading, meaning if you're watching it at this time, it is the perfect time for you. Having said that, if it's been a while since I posted this, what was going on in your life back then? All right, we're going to begin with the underlying energy from the bottom of the deck, and we have the Magician. And so the Magician is about infinite potential and the ability to bring that from which is above to below and create a beautiful garden on earth. You have all the tools you need. That's what on this bench here, and it's saying you need to learn how to use the tools though and know which tool to use at which time. You have infinite potential to the power of infinity and beyond, as above, so below. And so this is talking about making some shift happen. It's an energetic upgrade. That's a good way to begin a reading, except for this card now. So this is talking about the shift disturber. And so this represents, we don't really know what this person's doing. They're a walking contradiction. You know, there's 7 swords here. 2 of them are planted. He's planted them. He's looking backwards over his shoulder and carrying these other 5 swords. Now, he looks like he's being really sneaky. He's on his tiptoes, but it's really weird because he's in broad daylight and he's wearing bright red shoes and a bright red cap. Like you can see him from a mile away. So, you know, what is he up to here? He's, you know, as I said, he's looking over his shoulder at the past, but he's moving forward into the future, and he's not looking where he's going. Now, swords in tarot represent the element of air, and this is your mental intelligence, your thoughts, basically, and, you know, your mind. So this is talking about thoughts. This could represent intellectual material that he's sneaking away with. If he is a thief, he's not a thief in the night because he's in broad daylight here. So this could be that kind of crime that is, you know, if he is a thief, the crime could be, you know, white collar crime. He's sitting at his desk and you think he's doing his job, but he's actually pushing paper and, you know, possibly this could be money laundering or forgery, identity theft, that type of energy, white collar crime. And, you know, he's sitting in broad daylight, so you wouldn't know what he's doing. You would just assume he was doing his job. And he's not looking where he's going. And what bothers me the most about this card is just the fact that the way he's carrying these swords, like nobody carries swords like that. Like, why would you carry, these are super, super sharp. And if he was to trip and fall, he could really, really hurt himself here. And if he's that dangerous with his own energy, what do you think he would be like with other people's? It's just not someone that is, you know, it's hard to understand. He's a walking contradiction. And then we have here the 10 of Wands representing a heavy load to bear. And the thing about this card is, you know, when the wands represent the element of fire, and they represent taking passionate action. So this is basically the fruits of your labor from the actions that you've taken, the seeds you've sown in the past coming to, you know, maturity. And now this is, you know, the harvest basically for what you have planted. And, you know, it's heavy maybe, like some of these ones could definitely be like heavy with the fruit of the labor and well worth bringing home. And other ones might be burdens that this person is carrying for other people. Sometimes it could represent something like say you purchased a house and it was like 3 years ago and it was a really good deal. You know, you enjoyed living there. It's been, you know, it's gone up a little bit in value, but it needs some work if you're going to sell it. And you want to move on to something new, but you can't until you sell this house. So now it's not that it's a burden so much. It's become burdensome even though it's an asset, if that makes sense. So sometimes it can just be about circumstances changing or opportunities coming up that you would rather do. But if there are any burdens here that you can put them down, because this load is too heavy. And he has to figure out a better way of either bringing it all in and then sorting it out. The thing is that he is so, close to the situation that he can't see the forest for the trees. And that's meaning like that you're so focused on the details that you can't see the big picture. And he's almost home here, but he doesn't know he's almost home because he can't see it. So this is saying, if you have any burdens, put them down in the field right now. Like just drop them, and bring the harvest home. You're so close. This is saying, don't quit now. Whatever you do, don't quit now. A lot of times people quit right about when they're about to have success. So you don't want to quit now. You want to keep going. But there's nothing wrong. If you know that some of these wands are the burdens of other people that you've been carrying, it is time to put them down. And you could lay them down in the field and phone the person up and just say, you know what, I put your burdens down in the field. You can go pick them up. Or not at all. Don't expect people to be happy when you decide to put their burdens down for them. They may not like it. You might get some flack. But you have to look after yourself here, because if you are if this is weighing you down this much, it could stop you from achieving your goals. And then we have the Page of Cups energy, which is representing, generally, the cups in tarot represent quite often romantic love, but it can be love of anyone or anything. And it also can represent the energy of something you love to do or be. Now, quite often this represents romantic love, because this page, he knows there's plenty of fish in the sea, but he has this fish in his cup, and he's totally focused on this fish. And so this is talking about being possibly wanting to ask someone out, or that type of energy. The pages always represent some sort of communication or information coming in. In this case, it could be, in the old days, the pages would always be very young, would be male, and it would be in person. They would start working for the king and queen at a young age, 7 to 14, depending on how mature they were. You have to remember, back in those days, their life expectancy was half of what it is now. And so if they got an opportunity to work for the palace, it was a real major coup for them and their family. And this energy is talking about sometimes when this card comes up, it means that there's something that maybe from around the age of 7 to 14 that happened that might be part of this message. It could represent someone basically under the age of 21. And this energy in the old days would always be a male, but this could easily be a female in her masculine energy now. All of the figures in the tarot are archetypes, so they're not gender specific. It's talking about masculine and feminine energy. And so the information coming in could be, in those days it would have always been in person, but nowadays there's so many ways. It could be a phone call, a text message. You might get something in the mail. Maybe you get flowers like I did for Mother's Day, so I'm sharing them with all of you. And this energy could be possibly you're on social media and you get a message. It could be an email. You might go to an event and bump into someone, and there you go. You are attracted to each other, and next thing you know, you're going out dating and maybe even taking the relationship to a further commitment. This energy is talking about temperance, is talking about the devotion to your destined path. This is the path of glory here, and this angel has their foot in this water. This is talking about the universal waters, and the right foot is representing in body language forward action. The left foot is grounded on land, and you can see there's already beautiful flowers growing in this garden here where her foot is touching. Now, in the Bible, it says that there's 144,000 angels that God sends down to the planet to empower the earth and humanity to bring more beauty into life and some fairness. I like in the last couple of weeks, I do perceive a shift in energy where there's a line being drawn now. It's like, if don't expect the angels to empower you if you're a grown adult and you're going out of your way to be not on your destined path. And the angels are like, it's a fed up energy. It's time for people to make a choice, basically. On the spiritual realm, it's just an energy that's coming through. It's time. So if you've been warned that what you're doing in many ways is not going to work out for you, they're not going to keep protecting you and warning you. You're a grown-ass adult. They figure you can figure it out. So that this energy is, I feel that a lot of this is the shift from Uranus moving into the sign of Gemini, because I noticed it around that time. That and basically, I mean, you can look back at the beginning of May and sort of the end of April readings for the astrological signs and learn more about that. But bottom line is that this Uranus and Gemini energy is about bringing the truth out. And we're seeing it, like I've noticed, like big truths coming out every day, like even more so than before. And so this is the energy, and it's trickling down into everyday life as well. So I feel that there's just a point now where justice is coming through. And we're starting to notice it. Like people are that thought that they were going to get that away with some shift that they're doing are now realizing they don't have the protection they had before. The angels were doing their best to have them change their mind and do things in a better way. And now it's just like, if you're an adult, if it's a child or an innocent animal, for sure they're going to be there for them. But they're done with grown-ass adults that have been warned too many times and still figure that they can get away with shift that is causing suffering for other people. And not just people, but for the animals of the earth as well. So this is talking about the Queen of Swords energy. This is about learning that discernment. And the Queen of Swords is one of 4 of the queens. She is the element of the swords, which is again about the mind, etc. She has her left hand out. So this is saying she is willing to receive, but she has her sword in her right hand here, and her sword is up. She has been there, she's done that, she has the t-shirt, she is tired of bullshit, just like the angels. It's talking about their her head is above the clouds, she has clarity, what she will and will not accept in her life anymore, and it's she's drawn that line. And so that's the energy that we're talking about here. Being in this energy of understanding there's a time when you just have to say, okay, enough is enough. And then we have this energy of immature competition. This card has been coming up a lot in the last few readings. And I feel it's like I'm doing readings right now for the middle of May. And the energy is, a lot of times this immature competition is coming up. And so what this card basically is saying, sometimes this can represent sibling rivalry. This is the only card in the tarot where there's adolescents fighting like this. And so sometimes this can represent, when you're growing up. And again, see this age here, 7 to 14. So this energy is talking that this could go back to that time when you were in elementary school or, and going into high school, that kind of, that time frame. And it's immature competition. Like I call this my Mean Girls card. If you've seen it, like if you think about narcissistic cheerleaders and they want to win the competition, and they're at a competition and they can see the other team is better than them. The moves are better. They're more tight. That type of energy. But they don't care. They want to win. They want that trophy, and they'll do anything to win, even if they have to be sneaky and do things that would not be correct. And if they don't succeed, then their mothers will pull strings behind the scenes so that they do. It's that type of energy. As you mature, you start to realize that competition is meant to inspire you, and you can learn from it. And so if you view competition in a way that it's an opportunity every time you go out there to test your strengths and weaknesses, if you become more mature about this attitude towards competition, you realize, oh, well, competition is just me competing with my last best version of when I went out there and did the same thing. So this can represent, like, you can learn from competition, or you can be inspired by it, or you can be, disappointed because you don't win. It's fun to win trophies, I get that, but this is talking about if you just are 1% better every time you go out there and do something, and learn to, discipline your mind so that you keep your shift together when you're under, like, stress, you will, if everybody on the team does that, you're going to become much better very quickly and really excel. And then we have this energy of the Page of Swords. So the Page of Swords is, his element is the sword energy of, the thoughts. And this is like a breath of fresh air. The same sort of energy. It's some sort of communication coming in. This could be about this kind of energy here, because that's the only other swords we have. And we don't know what the competition is really about. There is a cup of love, maybe, there is someone that there's a lot of competition for, whatever that is. There's plenty of fish in the sea, but sometimes people all get stuck on the same one, I guess. So this is talking about, he's the only one of the pages that's not looking at his sword, at his element, because he already knows the logical question. And these swords are double-edged. One edge represents your logic, and the other your intuition. And he already knows what the logical question is. Now he's looking for a creative solution. So he's stretching his mind a bit here and looking towards his intuition. What does his intuition say? He might have like 20 thoughts here. And which one of those would be the best one? That's where he's going to use his intuition, so he gets the most creative solution of all. And this energy always reminds me also of a golfer. It's talking about that discipline of the mind, and you discipline your mind through meditation and prayer, by making yourself quiet so you can listen and listen to your heart. So it's a feeling rather than a thinking. And when people go golfing, lots of times politicians and business people will go golfing instead of having a meeting inside a boring convention center or an office. And what they'll do is they'll go out in the course. And I feel like a lot of times they do that purposefully, because they want to see what kind of a golfer you are. You can tell. I bet you, I haven't been in that experience myself. I'm not much of a golfer, but I understand that if you go out there for 18 holes with someone, by the end of those 18 holes, you're going to know a lot about them. And, so like if on the first hole, the golfer, you're out there and you have a really bad hole and you're like, and you lose your temper and throw the club, that says a lot about you. If you go out there and the next time that you stay calm and the next hole is a hole in one, that says a lot about you also. So when, golf is a very mental sport, you're really not competing with anyone. You're competing with yourself here to keep your shift together for each hole, approaching each one as a new adventure, basically. And so that's the type of energy. And I would say that if you're going to interview someone for a position in a company or something, what a good way, because you can see how someone is when they're a good winner. You can see when they're a good loser. How are they when things get tight in the game? Are they a good conversationalist in between the holes? That type of energy. So I feel like it would be something to think about here. Just if you golf, life is very similar to that, and you can take one skill set from life and put it into other situations. And so we have the Two of Pentacles. The Two of Pentacles is representing lifestyle. So Pentacles in Tarot represent your health, wealth, and happiness. Now, a big part of happiness on planet Earth is the Pentacle energy. The money. And so the pentacles are coins, because this is representing money. But you could have all the money in the world, and if you don't have your health and you don't have love in your life, you're not going to be living the most ideal lifestyle. So this is talking about someone who's very busy. And usually busy with work, and this is talking about juggling also. So it can be representing the energy of maybe you have 2 jobs to make ends meet, or you're going to school and also working to pay for school. Maybe it's, work hard, play hard, the difference between, your home life, your business life. It's that type of energy. And it's saying, being busy and multitasking is a great skill to have. Having said that, sometimes it just gains momentum. We start off, with this smaller wave in the ship, and then it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And then the next thing you know, it's gaining momentum, and you're just being busy to be busy. And before you know it, you're doing, Stella, go away if you're going to be like that. Go on. No, I'm not feeding you now. You're going to have to wait till this reading is over. Be a good girl. So, sorry, my cat wants me to feed her, but it's not happening. Okay, you're going to have to wait. Yeah, you just ate a couple hours ago. You can wait. Sorry. So this is talking about the energy of, juggling. And so, if you're multitasking, it's a good skill to have. But if you multitask to the point where you're doing more quantity than quality work, you're going to have to go back and redo a bunch of things. So you may, it defeats the purpose then. So it's saying don't be busy just to be busy. And also it's saying if you're juggling, don't juggle your options, but never juggle your morals. And then we have this energy here of the Six of Swords. Now the Six of Swords is talking about someone who's been through a rough patch in life. My dad used to say, oh, don't worry about them. They're just going through a rough patch. They'll be okay. And so this is like the rough water represents a rough patch. And this is talking about volatile emotions, chaos, that type of energy. And because this is the mind, this is saying that you want to quiet your mind and get out of this chaotic energy and be in peaceful energy. And so the peaceful water represents that, having that peace and calm in your life, and the energy here is saying there's a lot of chaos. Sometimes the chaos can be coming, and I feel like it's sitting on this Page of Cups. Sometimes this chaos can be coming from your past energy, like when you were a child, and maybe there's some burden you're carrying from your childhood, and you might not even be aware of it. You might not be able to remember it, because we don't quite often remember a lot when we're, under the age of kindergarten age. So this sometimes can represent an energy of going through chaos and volatile emotions, and just wanting to go off with God and meditate and pray and connect with source energy so that you can get into a calmer frame of mind. And this conveyor here has this big pull, and sometimes it can be really hard to push out of that rough water. So he has to dig really deep, and that's talking about you digging really deep and going into your shadow side, so that you can really take a look at what's really going on here, not what appears to be going on. And quite often, this represents that inner child energy. We have an adult and a child here, and there's no baggage. So this is about, wanting to calm that mind and figure out, okay, why maybe there might be certain times where you behave in a certain way, and you know that you're being you're not doing yourself a favor by that, but it's almost like you get triggered and you go into a certain behavior. And so that can talk about addictions and those sorts of things as well, where you want to quit smoking, but then and you say tomorrow I'm going to do it, but then the next day is tomorrow, and the day after that is tomorrow. And then we have the energy of the Nine of Wands. The wands represent the energy of the element of fire, as I said. So this is about, again, this action. And you look here, this is talking about, this person's dressed very similar here. And it's talking about, now he has a headache here. Like this already at 8 wands, but you managed to land 8 wands out of 10 in the tarot. He's leaning hard on this 9th one. So you can see he's tired, he has a headache. So this is saying definitely put down any wands that are not yours to carry, because this is at 9 wands and this is now at 10. It's time to put them down. If it's not your burden to carry, quit carrying it for others. And then we have this energy here of the King of Cups. And the King of Cups is talking about, you know, he is the most emotionally available of all the kings in the tarot of the four. He's out in the middle of all this choppy emotional water, and he's calm. He has learned to control his emotions. He has a cup of love that he wants to offer. This could be your energy, or you could be in this energy. You know, it's hard to say. I feel like this is talking about at some point you were in some very chaotic energy, and maybe this is talking about your journey of learning to be calm, you know, and how you learned how to quiet your mind so that, and not just be busy to cover it up kind of energy, and actually take a look at what really happened and why it's causing you to be, because this is someone that's doing their best to stay on their path, but it's like they're tired. It's they've been through a lot. They've managed to land it against all odds, but it's been very exhausting. And then this is that calm, you know, like if you go, and sometimes this can also represent an energy of your paternal line. So it can represent uncles and brothers, that type of energy, your cousins, like on the paternal side, that type of energy sometimes. So because it's going back to when you were probably like younger, 7 to 14, maybe even up to the age of 20, 21. And that energy is affecting you still. There was something that happened, or something bothersome there. And then we also have the King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles is someone that's really admired for their business acumen. So this energy, when I have a bunch of kings and queens coming out, I wait to see these could all be individual people, or they could be representing the qualities of one person, but it's too early really in this reading to be able to tell. So this is talking about the King of Pentacles, the attributes of the King of Pentacles. This is talking about someone who is admired for their business acumen. They could be someone in the banking industry, financial advisors, life insurance salesmen, accountants, that type of energy. They would be high up. They would be well respected, like in someone who is a partner in a firm that is well established. This can also represent maybe an entrepreneur energy, an entrepreneur that's doing really well. Chief financial advisor for a corporation. We could be talking about a lot of real estate energy here, because the Pentacles are the element of earth, and earth is land. Also minerals, that type of energy. So it could be stockbrokers, stock market, that type of energy, because of the minerals in the ground, the oil, all of those, that type of energy. And the king does have grapes all over his robe, because in tarot, grapes represent a luxury item that's hard to grow. And so this is saying, like, this is someone who's living a very good lifestyle. Quite often people will approach this energy because they want to be mentored or get advice when it comes to business. Sometimes the King of Pentacles can be really... I don't want to say boring, but they're steadfast in their ways and they don't change. And sometimes that can work against them. So, depending on their age and what, their experiences are, sometimes they just aren't willing to change the way they do things. And maybe that could also be part of the problem. And then we have judgment coming in. So the judgment comes in from the spiritual realm down to the physical. And this is talking about God's judgment coming down from the spiritual realm. And the ancestors are literally coming out of their boxes, and they are cheering because this is happening. So this could represent, judgment quite often represents redemption from karma. And it talks about, the karma, a lot of people feel is punishment. But karma is actually cause and effect of your actions or inactions. So this energy is talking, maybe your ancestors had unfinished business when they crossed the veil, and they have been waiting for some sort of justice to come through, a judgment to come through. And look at that, descendants are waving to them from across the veil here. Sometimes this can represent skeletons coming out of the closet, or an energy of opening Pandora's box and not being able to close it. This red cross energy here quite often can represent a healing energy when this judgment comes through. And then we have the Nine of Pentacles. Nine of Pentacles is like really close to the ultimate fulfillment. You can only get 10 pentacles. If you think about the pentacles in terms of money, 10 pentacles is the most you can have. So that would be like the billionaire, trillionaire energy. And then we would have at 9, you're a multimillionaire more than likely. So, it goes down from there. So this is a lot of coin. It's a very lucrative lifestyle, basically. And this is also representing pre-Empress energy. So in the tarot, there's like 4 queens and 4 kings. And if they go through enough life experience when they're represented as an emperor or an empress, this means that they've gained enough life experience and were determined to stay on their path, and really held themselves in high honor throughout the whole process. They achieve empress or emperor status. And so this is saying that this is someone who's pre-empress status. She's maybe the one last queen energy she needs is the energy of learning about better discernment when it comes to people and business, etc. How much are you going to invest in yourself? And that's always the best investment. An education, or that type of energy. If you invest in yourself, you're going to become better at everything. And then but this is talking about a ratio of the 3, 6, 9. And Nikola Tesla talked about this a lot, that if you knew the beauty of the 3, 6, 9, that you would have the key to the universe. And that's what this falcon here represents. It's like she has she can see the big picture here. She understands the big picture. She understands, she's learned, maybe sometimes the hard way, that she has to always keep this ratio. And I feel that's what Nikola Tesla is talking about. Like, she has her hand on 6 pentacles and she's got 3 here. So this is about 2/3 of what she has. She keeps her hand on it and she knows, I need this to run my home, my business, my make my payments, make sure I can cover everything, and and living expenses, etc. And then have a little extra in case of emergency. And then I have these 3 that I can use a little bit more freely. And so maybe one, she invests in a riskier investment that has a higher return. Not so much that she would, lose everything, but that she would have a real good gain if it's successful. And if she loses, it's not going to crush her or anything like that. And then we have maybe one of these other pentacles could represent giving to charity. And the third one, possibly, maybe that's about saving up for a vacation or a special something, that type. Maybe I'm going on a trip for the family, or buying a new house or something like that. And then we have here the 2 of Wands. Definitely there's some desire to expand energy here. And this is talking about, this person is standing on the turret, of their castle, and they are overlooking their domain. This is someone who's been successful. They've got 1 wand planted here already. And like, they're starting out, but they're doing really well. And so a lot of times he's got this globe in his hands, so he's feeling really like, maybe it always reminds me of entrepreneur energy, where he's planted 1 wand successfully and it's doing really well, but he has this globe in his hands, and this is saying, I have the world in my hands. But he's living in a small town or a small city, and he recognizes that he's a big fish in a little pond, and that if he really wants to expand in the way that he really wants to expand, that he needs to maybe leave where he's at, or at least expand from here. Quite often it reminds me of someone who wants to franchise, like maybe set up another location, or possibly it looks like he's looking across the water. Sometimes this can represent going global, that type of energy. And it doesn't have to be about business. It could be just a passion for wanting to go on a vacation or traveling, like wanting to expand in that way, or maybe go back to university and take, get another degree. This can, something that the person is passionate about. It could even represent wanting to expand and like have a special someone in their life now. Maybe you've been very focused on your career in that, and now you feel like, okay, I'm ready now to find that special someone and maybe start a family and expand in that way. Okay, so there has been some disappointment in that category. So that is talking kind of like the burdensome energy here. This represents quite often in romantic love. This can represent, because the cups represent love, the cups represent romantic love, but they also represent love of anything. So this could represent quite often, like there's 2 cups here and the wine is spilt, and then there's another cup and it's spilt too, but there's a different liquid in this one. And this quite often can represent a third-party involvement that has caused the relationship between a couple to crash and burn, basically. So this person is looking at this situation with regret. Now, this could be your regret because your partner did it, or your regret because you did it. Whatever that energy is, this could even be the regret of the third-party person. We have 2 cups standing here, though. So this is the energy of, you could stand here for the rest of your life, and some people do. Some people never recover from this kind of energy. There's a saying, don't cry over spilt milk, because once it's in the ground, you can't get it back out. This is a loss, and you have to just take it. And so sometimes life is like that. It's a loss, and there's nothing you can do about it. And so the best thing is to turn around and notice the 2 cups that are standing, pick them up, walk down the path, cross the bridge over these troubled waters here, go to your castle. Now the castle even looks sad. It's like half standing, half dilapidated. And so this energy is talking about you need to decide what kind of attitude are you going to have. Is the glass half full or is the glass half empty? Because attitude is what's going to carry you through this situation, regardless of which part of it you're in. It doesn't have to be a romantic situation. This also could represent, a business partner that didn't work out, or, could represent arguments with family, friends, that type of energy. You'll know for yourself if this is happening to you. And then we have getting back on your divine path, understanding. That's the Chariot. So this is, if you can get over this, like you don't want to go for the rest of your life living like this in regret, and being in that energy of, total disappointment and your mind racing all the time, feeling that energy. So, you're going for this energy, an expansion, that type of energy. And I feel like this is saying, it's interesting because this card can sometimes represent law enforcement type energy. The black and whites, that's what they call the sheriff's cards, the black and whites. And a lot of police, like in Canada, like the RCMP, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, their vehicles are all white, but the city police are usually black and whites. I know in a lot of in United States, the sheriff cards are usually black and white with a big star on. So it's kind of that energy. And so sometimes this can represent law and enforcement coming in, and it could be because of this sneaky energy, thievery or whatever, the heavy burdens that it's causing. There's a few cards here that are kind of indicating it could be some sort of energy like that, with judgment being called and like a lot of money being involved. So, and here again, a lot of money being involved. And, this sometimes can even represent, holding companies, offshore holding companies, and places where you can tuck money away. I don't know that much about it, but you know what I like. There's certain places where the laws allow you to not pay taxes and etc. But it could be that, like, just because of this financial advisor energy, that type of energy here, we're talking a lot of coin here coming through. And so this is talking sometimes just getting on your path, and it's already happening in the spiritual realm. But remember, judgment comes from the spiritual, and then it comes down to earth. And the thing is that with this judgment, if the ancestors are happy, maybe there's something happened to, they might have left an inheritance, a trust, something. They might have land somewhere and they didn't have it in their will, and then, like, you don't know about it. It could be a bazillion things. But there could, I'm just saying, there could be some energy around that. And then look at this. This is the end of a cycle. So, and at the beginning here, we do have this energetic upgrade. So there could be some sort of information coming in. We don't really have we have a lot of pentacles here, but we don't have a lot of information about pentacles. But we do have this information about some sneaky energy. And we have this information about, to do with love and maybe people that from your childhood, that kind of energy, which could represent maybe a family business or some sort of energy around that. So in any case, because the judgment is coming in, this is saying that this cycle is going to be over here right quick. It's already happening. And this is like a tank. Once you're on the chariot, there's no reins, there's no need for it. It's like boom, dunk, 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 get out of our way. Judgment is coming through, and we have that energy. And it looks like this energy is on the wounded warrior, the exhaustion of the wounded warrior, and the this King of Pentacles energy, basically. Here in this energy, this feels like it's more attached to a possible love coming through. It's still not really clear who the players are in this, and some readings are like that because there could be quite a few players. Sometimes this is meaning, there's no specific couple energy here that I can see at this point as of yet. And then we have the world energy is talking about, okay, so you've come to some sort of achievement. There's no more to do in this cycle. Once this justice comes in, I feel it's going to put you on a different, in a whole new world. It's going to be a different energy. So that's good. It's going to clear up some of these problems coming in. So if you're waiting for some sort of judgment to come through, what better times than these when Gemini is now in, or Uranus is in Gemini, bringing all these truths out. And I've really noticed it, and I'm all for it. Let's bring out the truth for sure. The truth is actually really funny. A lot of times, it's a hard situation, but if you have a good sense of humor, you realize, well, at least you have when you have the truth, it puts you in a position where you can make strong choices. If you don't know the truth, and especially if other people know the truth, and you don't, how are you going to make strong choices? And then we have, use your intuition at this time. It's saying this again. We do have that new moon coming up that will be in 6 days now. And it's in Taurus, which is about the element of, it's about the pentacle energy, and it's talking about not wanting to have to share your possessions, basically. That type of energy. It's like having concern around possessions. And so there could be this represents some information coming in. There could be a lot of information coming your way now. And pay attention to it. If your intuition is telling you, pay attention, pay attention. She's sitting here between these two pillars, and these are two extremes, and all this information is pouring in. And sometimes when we have so much information, it can be really upsetting because we don't know which is real, what's not. And a lot of people are going through that right now. We have so much information coming in. Having said that, if you use your intuition, like this Page of Swords, it's like a breath of fresh air. You'll have a feeling, you'll be able to feel it. And so that's, the High Priestess sits on her throne with God, and she is in between these two pillars. And these are two major extremes. We've got Jesus here and the devil. That's the information coming in. So she's sorting through it. And because information is actually neutral, when you think about it, information is data. And data doesn't care if you like it or not. Like, it's just information. What you do with the information is good or evil, and productive or not. And then we have, justice coming in some more. So this is talking about also redemption from karma, this energy. And you notice, like, she's got her right foot forward, like the king here, ready to take action. It's peeking out from underneath her robe, so it's coming in close. She's getting ready to get up in any moment and wield that sword of justice. The veil here represents the thin veil between the spiritual and the physical realm, between us and our ancestors. And look at this energy is kind of all focused on here. So this energy could be saying that you're almost an Empress energy, because this windfall is coming through for you. This represents redemption from karma as well. So remember, karma can be direct from your actions or inactions, and it's cause and effect. What have you done? And this is when it's important to recognize here. There's direct karma like that, and then there's indirect from your ancestors, descendants, associations with other people. And, if you're carrying burdens for other people and they're about to get hit with karma for their actions or inactions, you're holding on to their burden for them, then no wonder you're in this energy, like, the wounded warrior energy. You need to put those burdens down right now, like quick. And then we have, at the very top here, we have the Queen of Cups. So this is talking about the maternal line, and this is talking about the paternal line. And these two are a couple. Now, but why are they so far apart? You see in this reading, I feel that this is more I feel this King of Cups energy is talking about your parents or grandparents or great-grandparents. I feel like they were married, and this is your paternal and your maternal line. That something happened when you were this age that maybe you don't know about. And it has something to do with an inheritance or trust funds or something, land, whatever that is, that's the information that's coming in. And I feel that there's been some sneaky energy behind the scenes from people that wanted it. And, remember, this can talk about sibling rivalry. So, pay attention to what's going on. The truth is coming out. Uranus is like, I don't know, like I was kind of shocked at like how like every day if you turn on the news, it's like, whoa, here comes another truth, and then another one, and it's in different countries all over one country, it's one day it's in the US, the next day it's in Canada, the next day it's in Europe. There's always some sort of something going on, and it's generally about something that happened at the top of the pyramid, and now people from below are finding out about it. And it's like, and that's no different than it is in our life when we have, our hierarchy in our families, and then that comes trickling down. So the Queen of Cups is talking about, like, she would be the most maternal, and she would be the most to be in a traditional relationship, which would represent more your parents, grandparents, great-grandparents energy. She's holding this cup of love, and it's got a lid on it. So this is unconditional love. So she would be more traditional, maybe even someone that stayed home, and it could be representing your grandma or your great-grandma energy on your mother's side, as well as like the paternal side. Something has happened here, I feel, definitely. And some sort of truth or something is coming out. Sometimes this card, because the maternal line carries the mitochondria, and in DNA that's significant because it's passed down from mother to daughter, not from mother to son. So it could be something to do with, that type of energy. Going from the bottom up to the top again and back down, we have this energy of the sneaky energy, the walking contradiction. King of Cups, now I feel like this is talking about what's happened in their lifetime together. Doing very well. They did very well. They were very successful and considered very successful in their world. But there's some sort of energy. I feel something when I feel that the King of Cups, like if this is representing your grandparents, that your grandfather passed, and it created a whole new world for the grandmother, but there was some sort of energy, something that happened there. Or it could be your parents even, depending on how old you are. Something happened in between their deaths that changed something significant here. And that's what they're not happy about. It's sitting on this, and it's got to do with an inheritance, a will, land, something like that. I'm sure of it. And then this is talking about justice coming in finally, and them, yay, finally. So this could go back like a couple of generations, something. It could have something to do also with adoption or something like that, because the DNA keeps coming up, the mitochondria in the cells. And then this is talking about something happened. There was a third party. Like, did Grandma and Grandpa have, did Grandpa go away somewhere? The energy in 1941 to 1949, when a lot of men went overseas, right, for World War II energy. Was there some sort of third party involvement? Is there some child out of this energy? That's really common actually right now. That's the kind of energy I feel. It's got something with Gemini, Uranus energy. And this is talking about, expanding their horizons. And look at this overseas. And I keep picking up like there's some sort of, what do you call it? Holding companies, shell corporation. I don't know. I don't know enough about it to be able to say what it is. These words are coming through my mind, and I know sort of what they are, but I don't know exactly, so I don't want to say. This is going to be a breath of fresh air when you find out this information. And I don't know, like there could have been some sort of fighting with the siblings. Like this, you might not even know about it. This could have been your like say your great grandma's siblings were fighting with her over something that happened. Like that type of energy. It could be like quite a ways in the past, and you're not aware of it. And so maybe one side of the family, they ended up with everything, and the rest of the siblings ended up with nothing, something like that. And now the truth is coming out, and it's being looked into. So something like that. And then, okay, so you need to be a good girl. I'm going to finish this reading. You can last another 10 minutes to eat. So this is time. She sounds so sad. You're not starving. You'll be fine. What a pain in the butt. Cats have staff. Dogs have owners. Yeah, you need to find some new staff. Okay, so I'm going to clarify. If you're leaving the reading here, then please do give it a like and comment if you have found it beneficial, if you've enjoyed it. I really appreciate it. It helps me build my channel. And also consider subscribing if you resonate. I'm going to clarify now with my oracle cards. And I started this back in 2007. And in 2020, I'm an artist. I completed 64 paintings. And this energy, I have a website, talesfromthevector.com, and on that website I have a gallery, and these are the numbers of the paintings as they're listed in that gallery. So here we go. I will put these in the description box below in the order they come, so that if you want to take a look at it, you can. And the numbers here will be the numbers of the paintings as they're listed in the gallery. All right, the Lovers is the first one out, an energetic upgrade in Lovers. So where was the first lover energy? Was here with the Page of Cups, and we have the High Priestess on that energy. So there could be something around lovers, definitely, that happened. And I'm picking up like some sort of energy overseas for whatever reason. The Empress energy, we have pre-Empress energy here. So this is talking about whatever happened here with this sneaky energy, eventually it's going to elevate you to Empress energy because you're at pre-Empress energy here. So everything you learn from this situation is going to be valuable in the end, but it's very tiring and exhausting. And I feel for some reason, for some of you, you were meant to have a better lifestyle. That's why this judgment is coming in. Something happened here. You know, there was a lot of that energy back, you know, in World War II. There was a lot of back and forth energy. We have the father figure's energy. Again, this could be someone who is, you know, like on the paternal line, and it could be uncles, cousins, someone you look up to as a father, that type of energy. It could be your own father. It could be someone that you're married to that is the father of your children is involved, something. And it's causing a burden. And the energy is really saying, definitely, if you know that you're carrying burdens for someone, put them down, because they're about to get hit. I feel like the ball is spinning. I can feel it. And the High Priestess energy is talking about listen to your intuition, and we've got it here twice, and it's sitting on this world energy, that it's going to change your world for the better. This is about having something successful happen. And then we have a big transition here. So what happened here? This is in between this energy of being patient and then being discerning. Staying on your path, or maybe not staying on your path. Something happened, or a bad judgment about a lover, some sort of energy around that. Degradation. So yeah, it's talking about your energy being taken down. Like you were supposed to be here, but you've been here. And this is talking about, you know, this is a tactic that people use, like if they can take from you. And I don't know, like it's this energy where there could be unfair competition. Other people know what's going on and you don't. Maybe someone on one side of the family knows what's about this and the other side doesn't. You hear lots of stories about that. Like over the years, I've heard quite a few. And then we've like real life situations where families were divided. And, you know, all it really takes sometimes is for someone to pass away. Like if that's a matriarch of the family and she was the glue that held the family together, or the patriarch was the glue that held the family together, all of a sudden people don't keep in touch like they used to. And a lot of times if people aren't keeping in touch with you all of a sudden, it might be because they don't want you to find out about something. You know, like, so it's that type of energy. You were all, when your parents were still alive, you were all like really cozy with each other, and now you're not, that kind of energy. So this is talking about using your guiding light, the North Star energy, and the Chariot's coming in. So it's just reinforcing this. Make sure you use the energy. Justice is coming in again. There's something, and your ancestors are cheering. So it's something that didn't go right. It wasn't handled correctly, something like that. And we have the star. The star is more galactic energy, like, and it's talking about following, like that you were meant to be, you're meant to shine. And your ancestors went to a lot of work to make sure that you would have this, and for some reason you don't. This is again talking about following the North Star energy, which is your guiding star energy. And that it's again implying, like at that time you might have been around a younger age, like, you know, 7 to 14. I keep picking that energy up as well. I don't know what that means, but you might. And then we have worldly and otherworldly desires. So this is like when you give yourself total permission to go after your authentic desires. And so it's talking about sometimes, like, this is a karmic space that people fall into because they go, sometimes people are so spiritual that they don't want any material possessions, which is kind of silly because you live in a world that, you know, has a lot of beauty and that type of energy. But Sometimes people go the other way and that's all they care about. And so when there's that discrepancy, it can cause karma. And I feel like there was something that happened that needs to be cleared up in the family dynamic here. And then we have this energy here again of the Magician. So I feel like it's saying it's an energetic upgrade for the entire family in some ways, because this kind of energy weighs heavy. Like when the ancestors are not happy on the other side, then you know, the karma goes back and forth across the veil. So if they weren't able to clear something up before they passed on, and they meant to, but then something happened and they couldn't get it done, they're reaching out for their descendants to do it for them, because it's bothering their soul. It's that type of energy I'm picking up. So it's something that when I feel it'll be a big sigh of relief. Sometimes that's this energy here when the truth comes out, and it's going to put things into balance for the family. Maybe there was misunderstandings or something, and there's a letter somewhere and it would explain it all, you know, that type of energy. Yeah, I do hope you've enjoyed this. Please do give it a like and comment if you have. I would really appreciate it. Also, consider subscribing. I would be honored if you did so. And I'll be back with another reading for you again tomorrow. Bye for now.